Is a hormone imbalance inevitable if you are postmenopause, or what we often call in menopause? I'm Marissa Fay. I'm a hormone and gut health expert for women of all life stages and phases, and I help women reverse and reduce their symptoms with natural methods. I also help women get a heck of a lot more relief than they find in any doctor's office. And this is confusing. I get it. So here's the thing. A hormone imbalance is different than low hormones. So think about a hormone imbalance in this way. Almost all of your hormones function in a way where it matters proportionally how much you have of each in your system. A really easy example is to look at estrogen and progesterone. In your cycling years, the first half of your cycle, estrogen is meant to peak and then fall. And the second half of your cycle, progesterone is meant to peak and then fall. The magnitude of both of those hormones peaking is meant to be about the same. If proportionally you have way more estrogen in your system than progesterone, meaning the peak of estrogen is much higher than the peak of progesterone, you have a hormone imbalance. We'd probably call that an estrogen imbalance or estrogen dominance or high relative estrogen. That often creates a different set of issues than if you had low estrogen and low progesterone. So say, for example, in your cycling years, that peak of estrogen isn't very high, but then also that peak of progesterone isn't very high either. That's just low hormones, not necessarily a hormone imbalance, although if we looked at other hormones, we might find an imbalance. So when you go into perimenopause and you start experiencing symptoms, while it is true that many of your hormones are starting to get lower, many of the symptoms in perimenopause, and if you're still experiencing them postmenopause, are due to an imbalance. Because yes, it is inevitable that your hormones are getting lower, but if proportionally your hormones are getting lower at different paces, and by the way, you're carrying in hormone imbalances you had before in your cycling years into perimenopause and postmenopause, then you're going to be having symptoms of hormone imbalance, not symptoms of low hormones. And this I know can be confusing, but it's one of the reasons Western medicine is shit with dealing with perimenopause and postmenopause. Because the key to addressing symptoms is actually first to resolve the imbalance. Then when you have hormones stable and all relatively low potentially, then you can bring in supports to proportionally raise the hormones that are most important to raise together. About a third of the women in the Balanced Hormone Blueprint right now, my signature course and group program, are working on this very issue and seeing amazing results.